And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Generation Shock. That's right, we're back and better than ever. You got my boy right here. You know, it's me, but, I'll still call myself my boy. It's the monster on the mic. It's Check Monster. We got the Haitian Denzel Washington. We got Gaston in the
What?
house
He said
today.
Haitian?
I don't
It's
know.
the Pakistan.
Pakistani Denzel.
Oh, my bad. I messed that up. But anyway, and we got your boy Messiah. Let's go. It's intro time. Kick it. Oh, my goodness.
Jesus. Cheese and rice.
Cause, no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
All right. So I want to start the show off real quick, and I know we're not going to talk too much about it, but I do want to have a little bit of remembrance, and because I believe it was yesterday on Tuesday. It was the 1 year anniversary of the unfortunate death of George Floyd. One of the many things that started off a very tremendous year in 2020, dealing with COVID and everything else that went on. And we just want to put a remembrance out there to, a little shout out to his family. I know it can't be easy on his daughter, and just, what that movement meant and what it still means, because the reason why we just wanted to bring it up is we want people to understand the movement's not over. It's not done. It's still out there, and we still have to grow and change as people. This is something that we can, never stop fighting for, and the equality and the rights. And, unfortunately, there's only been one of the 4 officers who's been convicted, and there's 3 other officers, 2 that held their knees down or held his legs down, and the other one that kept people away as far as the crowd, as they, kept, choked out the life of this young man. And it's, hopefully we'll get justice served when those 3 find their court date. But I just want to go ahead and put a little something out there about it and say a little something about it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have anything you want to comment on.
Gaston, you have anything?
That was very eye-opening, especially when it happened. The best thing and the only thing to say is that going forward, there's a lot of people that are responsible, and it looks like they're going to get what they deserve. Every single one of them for what they did. What they did was not humanely right. And going forward, it should really be an eye opener for the rest of us. And when we see things like that happening, step up. It doesn't matter if that person is a police officer. If what they're doing is wrong, we got to, let it be known and make sure we're reinforcing the idea that we got to protect each other. At the end of the day, we're all human. And if we're not taking care of each other, that we're going to run into more issues.
Yeah, I think, yesterday I was watching it, and then I realized, man, a year already passed. That's crazy how time flies. And I was watching, it was after actually the Mike Tyson documentary that were talking. It was a show called Soul of the Nation, I believe, right? And it made me realize a lot of stuff that I didn't realize at the moment, because we were all caught up in this moment. And it's the movement that happened after that, right? How his death created a movement. George Floyd's death created a movement in the nation where protesting happened. A lot of eye-opening stuff happened where they started taking down Confederate statues. Eye-opening stuff like the Aunt Jemima syrup, and all that movement. People were actually like, "Wow, wait a minute! This is all in the system. Everything that's happening." And I never thought of damn, this was happening. All movement created after that. It was the aftermath of that. And I was like, it's good, man. It looks like the country is moving towards the right path. There's still a lot of work to be done. They were talking about the police force, how there's a big portion of the police force that still needs proper training, because it is just proper training. And all that, and it's very eye-opening, and you still think about that shit still happens, right? And they even talked about after they gave the sentence to the guy that they found him guilty and all that. Right after that, there was an incident that happened where they shot some other person, based on improper training and all that stuff, and it's crazy. It's something that's still continuing There's still a movement going on, and it ain't over. And just because it's not in the news every 5 minutes like it was back then, about a year ago, it's still a movement still happening. There's still a lot of laws that need to be changed and proper training to be done.
Well, they have a law that they're trying to put out in his name. I don't know the actual logistics of it, but I know it has to do with police training and reform. It's not about defunding the police. It's about reforming them to have them better understand and be equipped to handle those situations. And I know, look, I know it can't be easy for officers. They're in a high stressful position and they try to react to the moment, but there has to be some sort of logic that there's 4 of you on one person, 3 of you, I guess, on one person for nearly 10 minutes. I don't understand how you don't see that as being an issue. Like that's the kind of mentality that we have to break, is that's, that has to be known.
The human part of it, right? If you think about it, the human part of it, right? The guys is 3 officers on top of him, one of them on his neck, and he's saying, "I can't breathe." Where in your head does it click in the human part says, let me just back up. Even let's just say this hypothetical scenario. Let's just say he was like struggling, he was resisting, but the part where he says, "I can't breathe," you would step back and be like, okay, at least let me allow him to breathe while I restrain him. There's the human part about it is the part that keeps playing in my head, and I'm like, where do you just sit there and say, if you could talk, you could breathe? Where do you make that that decision? Like, I'm not gonna back up. Oh, I'm still gonna put my knee on him. And this is crazy. So my wife and I was having actually this discussion, and she says, if I would have been there, I would have pushed the cop. I'm like, it's not that easy.
No.
It's not that easy to just go in there and there's 3 cops in there. There's another cop watching the audience, watching, make sure the hostile doesn't get worse. She's like, yeah, but the man is dying. I'm like, babe, I know what you're saying. And I know the part of you, because you're watching it on TV, the anger makes you feel like that. But it's different when you're in person. And it's different when you have 4 armed officers. And 3 of them is on this guy. I go, and you go in and push. I go, you're female and you're white, so you might get away with certain things, but a physical touch on an actual officer, you're gonna get arrested or or worse. But nobody else can get away with that. And I was just explaining to her, like the white privilege is bigger, right? It's different. And I don't know this is, but I was just trying to get her to open up and think, babe, you probably would have done that, but you would have been. Nobody else can probably get away with that. I'm not saying she would have either, but it would have been handled differently if one of the guys in the audience would have been there, spectating, would have pushed that guy probably would have got shot.
Yeah, you never know, and that's the thing. There's got to be a way to have more non-lethal, the weapons and things, whether it's tasers or bean bags or whatever you want to call it. There's got to be more ways to get non-lethal equipment out there to the officers to be able to subdue somebody. I hate to say it, but a couple broken bones is still better than the life taken.
Yep.
So, the thing
bruises.
Yeah. So, the thing that sparked me was that I look back on is the movement that it was able to get with people in power and influence, meaning, like athletes and people like that, because for a long time, athletes didn't stand up. They didn't speak up. They weren't a part of it. We saw what happened when one athlete just tried to take a knee on a stance, and, he was ostracized. So, the difference of the ability for these athletes now to, have a voice and be able to say what's on their mind politically is something that's completely different. Now, some of them are stupid and they take advantage of it and they say shit they shouldn't, and they're anti-Semitic or whatever, whatever else. And, they're paying the price for it. But for a lot of them, they were able to, help be a voice to the people and help make a movement. So, it was definitely, something that definitely brought, that sparked my mind. So,
yeah.
Oh, so it looks like the next one. Sorry to
yes,
change
sir.
the subject real quick, but I just got it.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's move on to the show. I just wanted to be able to get that out there and talk a little bit about it. So I guess we'll jump in and, I guess we'll talk about how the country seems to be reopening, because it has a little bit to, because, we were in the height of COVID during this whole thing that happened with George Floyd. And now it seems like the country's starting to turn around and things are starting to change. I know a lot of states have went ahead and taken down the mandate of the masks indoors. And I know, New Jersey, where I'm in, the state I'm in, is actually, as of Friday at 6 p.m. supposedly, is going to go ahead and follow suit with some of these other states and leave some of these restrictions on masks. And what do you guys feel about that? How do you guys feel about where you work? And do you feel safe? Are you comfortable with this? Are you still going to wear your mask, right? Because you still have the right to do that. I mean, what is your stance? What do you guys feel about that?
Go ahead, Gaston. You go first.
So I'm at work. I'm like the only person that doesn't wear their mask. I got
That's why I
fully
said you go first.
I'm fully vaccinated, and I'm okay with us not having to wear a mask. I'm okay with the people that come in where I work and not wear a mask. Like it's not the end of the world. At the end of the day, I can't force somebody to wear a mask. Do I think it's like a humane right to not wear a mask? No, but I think it's considerate. But I personally don't like wearing a mask, and now I definitely don't like wearing it even more that I'm vaccinated. It feels very refreshing to be able to not wear a mask. I was gone from work for 2 weeks. I wore a mask for a whole day. I had a super bad migraine, and I'm just like, I don't want to wear a mask anymore. This is ridiculous. I haven't worn a mask in like 2 weeks, and this is what happens. But I love it. I love that we're slowly but surely going back to normal. And if people choose to wear their mask, that's on them. My biggest argument with it, if people do want to argue about it, is you can wear a mask and be fully vaccinated, but then you're fully vaccinated and wearing a mask defeats the purpose of getting the vaccine. Now, in some cases, people might have smaller children and they might want to protect them. But when it comes to, I want to just wear my mask, like we weren't wearing masks before and we get the flu shot every year, or you don't get the flu shot every year, but you're not wearing a mask. Unfortunately, we didn't adopt what people in like China and Japan were doing, wearing masks, and now people want to adapt it. And to me, it feels awkward. But with change, everybody has an option. And there are some people who would sit there and say putting a mask on me is taking away my freedom. Like, no, it's not. It's just being considerate to everybody around you during a pandemic. But if you're not going to get vaccinated and you're not going to wear a mask, then there's a problem. You're kind of getting out of hand. It's not giving you 5G. It's not giving me I wish it gave me superpowers. The only superpower it gave me is that I could smell my mom's eggs that were in her bag that she bought for lunch after I got my first shot. And I was just like, this is terrible.
See, with me, I'm still wearing the mask. I'm still thinking about, should I get vaccinated? I haven't been vaccinated. My wife has been vaccinated, fully vaccinated too. And a part of me still thinking, you know what? I don't know. I don't know if I'm still thinking, should I get vaccinated? I'm okay with wearing the mask. I'm cool with that. Like I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem dealing with a customer that doesn't wear a mask, right? Because like I said, I've been in the trenches. I haven't stopped working since day one. Thank God for that. So those are the blessings. And I feel like maybe I've caught it and don't have any symptoms. Maybe I'm that person. But I have been following protocols, always washing my hands, right? With soap. I don't like using sanitizer. I only use sanitizer once in a while. When I can't find soap, or if after shaking a guy's hands, I'm like, okay, I gotta go run to the bathroom and shake my hands and wash my hands. Because now I catch myself washing my hands more because of COVID. Before I wasn't washing my hands unless I used the bathroom. But I don't used to wash my hands before eating. I mean, I always like say, hey, I got a strong immune system, knock on wood. But it's not even about that. But like, I'm okay when helping with or without a mask. So that's where I'm at with that.
All right.
Anything? Shake Monster?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I'm glad we're trying to get back to normal. I just wonder what normal is going to be. Like, I don't know. Like, part of me wonders if we'll ever get back to where we were before everything happened. And it's hard to see that because, I think it's going to be a long time before we ever get back to where we were. Yeah, we may not have to wear masks. Maybe the virus dies down and stuff like that, but it's not going to change the impact that it did to our economy and the way of life and everything else that happened. I mean, these are long lasting. And when something's around for as long as this was, these are long lasting effects that hit. You know, yeah, I guess if, you know, the problem with the whole no mask thing is I do worry that we're going to, you know, 4 months from now, we're going to be back to where we were, because the thing is, it's not the responsible people that we have to worry about. It's those people, you know, that don't get vaccinated, don't give a shit, and just want to go out and run wild. And those are the people who are going to continue to spread disease and try to, you know, endanger others and everything else. And so, you know, I don't know if it's the right answer to say we keep masks. I don't know if it's the right answer to say we don't. Hell, I mean, the only good thing about the mask is I just stopped shaving forever. That's why every time I come on here, like, I look like this, is because, you know, I hide it behind a mask all day. The only people that see me is when I'm on a golf course or I'm at home. Like, nobody has to see me. I mean, look, it gave me this damn thing on my nose from, you know, wearing my mask. Like, so, you know, I'm fully vaccinated. Will I... Yeah, I'll probably be that guy who won't wear a mask because I just don't care. I'm not concerned about me, but I'm also fully vaccinated. So I don't know, but I don't know if it's the right decision for the nation.
Let me ask you this. Being fully vaccinated, how long is it going to cover you? And are you going to take another shot of it, right? When the winter comes?
Well,
because there's this new strain coming up, right? They're already out, right? Also, you know, like the topic would be like, there's anxiety happening right now with reopening up the country, because we're opening up in stages right now. Florida is like no mask, right?
Well,
indoors
was never closed. I mean,
but I'm talking about
no man's land out here, man.
People
driving
Florida
through
man
the
runs
desert.
wild. Florida man runs wild.
So like the inside, the reason why I brought up this topic, and I chose this topic, is because I was listening to the radio station, and this mother, she was concerned, and you can hear her anxiety, and I'm like, oh wow, man, that's crazy. I never thought about it like that, but she was like she was scared about the reopening, or going back into the workforce, being in a small closed area. Her kids that she was homeschooling are scared to go back to school. So this is a real like mental issue, a real mental issue. Anxiety is a real mental issue. So there's a lot of people that feel like that. Now, there's a lot of people also taking advantage of that mental health issue, right? And using it as an excuse not to go back to work. But there are people that actually, like this lady, that's actually like dealing with it for real. And I'm like, I feel bad for them, because it's hard going back out there. See, like, we've been there since day one. We've always been working, but there's people that's been locked down for a whole year.
I get that, but I always laugh because I just always question it, because how locked down were they really? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these people that say that they're locked down, I guarantee you they ain't staying home with just their immediate family and only doing curbside grocery pickup, not having any friends or family community like over. Like, they're not that locked down. People say that shit, but little Sally and little Timmy are still playing with their friends. I guarantee it, because there ain't no way you've gone this long. Hold on, there ain't no way you've gone this long with your kids, and your kids don't go out and don't do anything. Right? Because if you're truly locked down like that, you as a parent are forced to leave the home because you need supplies for your home.
Of course.
But your kids have no need to go out. So what you're saying is, you're telling me for, let's say, even just 6 months straight, hypothetically 6 months straight, your kids never left the house? Come on, bro. That's not true.
Well, we don't know that. No, but that's not everybody's situation.
I know enough about the world. There ain't no way you're keeping a kid locked in a house for 6 months straight.
If you entertain them enough, yes. And what if
not enough
remember, this is
on
Florida.
The world.
This is a Florida radio station, right? So this is Florida. There's backyards.
Okay, so what?
These kids are probably going out to the backyard and getting some outside. The mother's probably
they're
going out grocery shopping with them, right?
But they're isolated to their property for 6 months. They've had no contact with the outside world for 6 months.
So you're saying that's not possible?
I'm saying in today's society, no. The kids would go crazy, dude. That's not how the world works anymore.
Yeah, but I believed her story, bro.
I believe she has anxiety, but I believe she overplays it. They dramatize it more and more to get their
think
point
so?
across. Absolutely. Dude, they're
I
not
don't
living
think.
on a
I think
reservation.
their kids. If you're homeschooling your kids for a whole year,
That's your homeschooling's different. But that's
I don't know. But wait, for a whole year because COVID, will allow school to close, and then now the schools are starting to reopen, and your kid doesn't is scared to go because
no
all
one
the
said you had to
stuff.
stop homeschooling your kid.
So okay, so
You're right.
let's look at it like this real quick. Where was you were listening to a Florida radio station?
Yeah, 106.7.
So that's like the Orlando, Central Florida area, right?
Yeah.
So the parents had the option to let their kids be homeschooled,
Yep.
or learn from, or they're not really homeschool like old school style. It's like you're at home behind a laptop on Zoom doing homework. That's the kind of homeschool we're touching on. So some people are scared because my brother and my sister-in-law were scared because they're like, damn, we don't know what to do. Should we let them go to school? Should we let them not? But it's up to the parent to instill behaviors on the child to wear their mask, wash your hands, wear your mask, wash your hands, get masks that are comfortable but resistant to the germs that are produced from COVID. And granted, I'm a full adult, and even me with a mask, I'll take it off and I'll breathe out, but there's a time and place where I'll drink something. But it's the parent that has to teach the child that. And, if she's scared, like, what about these other parents that are not going to do it? Then it's the same principle as I'm going to go to the grocery store and Susie Q ain't wearing no mask. I got a mask. She touched this. Let me, sanitize. Let me wash my hands. It's behaviors. And it's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to be scared. But in some places, they have been locked down, but they're not locked down how we were the first month when COVID happened. When COVID first happened, it was a ghost town. I'm driving down. It's a ghost town.
I was like, man, I can get from point A to point B fast.
Europe was closed down.
Well, and that's but that's the difference, I think, because those locations, like the places you would go, were locked down, right? So that's the difference then. So that month, I mean, at least here, for instance, right, is if you went to the supermarket because you need supplies, right? Well, they're only letting in maybe 20 people at a time. And they're monitoring the spacing between those people.
Of course.
So yes, most people aren't. The roads were damn near empty. You're right, because there was a limitation on what you could go out and do. The second those limitations started to ease up, you saw people didn't give a shit. They're just out. They're doing their thing.
But this is what I think. I'm
not saying that anxiety is not real.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, though, is that people in society have always done this. And you see it at work, and don't tell me you
take
don't.
advantage of situations?
No, but people overreact to shit.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
But that overreaction is part of the anxiety.
I get it. But it's just like the person that you've talked about on this show during your fuck out of here's that comes in and has stood there for literally 30 seconds and flips out because there's a line and they said they've been waiting there 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
their anxiety of having to wait in a line, which is a real thing, but they're over dramatizing it, right?
Yeah.
This lady is doing the same thing. I'm not saying her anxiety is not real. I'm not saying I don't believe that she has these anxiety issues, but what I'm saying is that she's over dramatizing it in order to try to make a point, right? And she maybe is embellishing some of the facts in order to drive a point home. Like, we've been literally locked down, quarantined in our home for a year, and now we have to come outside and see the sunlight, right? Like, that's not the way that
I don't think that's
the world works.
Yeah, I don't think she was like locked down like in the house and then she stepped outside. What she was trying to say is, she was explaining, I think she was saying that her kids are not questioning, how school gonna be like. Because remember, if you're locked down for a year, and anxiety can creep in, right? When you're constantly watching the news, when you're constantly on social media, when you're constantly watching these things and you're watching all this negative, all the shit that's happening, that creates that anxiety also. This is why I told my wife, you gotta stop watching the damn news because otherwise you will never fucking leave the house. And then you're watching that. Your kids are also, remember, the new babysitter these days, when the mother, especially like you said, mother that has kids and she probably needs some time, she'll be like, go on your tablet, go on your computer. Those kids are watching shit on social media also, right? And that also is creating that anxiety. Now they're like, okay, well, now when I go out there, is that
Listen,
really
man,
really
these
is?
these kids, if they ain't going out there looking at that shit, okay? Kids ain't looking up what's
I'm not saying they're looking
COVID.
at news. They're reading headline. They're reading this clickbait. They're on YouTube watching these like their own little funny
they
videos.
X
And all
that shit out. They ain't paying attention to none of that. First of all, okay. So let's just ixnay that shit right off the bat, right?
Okay.
Number one, number two. What it really comes down to is that we need to get back to a society where the government gives more funding to the school systems so we can lower the number of kids in class and we'll be fine, right?
Yeah, you're right.
It's been an epidemic before COVID. The size that of that we literally got to the point where we had too many kids in classrooms because they don't want to fund teachers and shit in schools. That's no kids left behind. Why? Because we can't afford to fail a kid. So if a kid's stupid, sorry, you're out of luck. We can't afford to fail you because we can't have you in the same class, in the same grade next year because we don't have the finances and the funding to give you a chair because we got the kids coming up from the grade before you who need that seat, right? So that's
my high school class was like 30 to one teacher, bro.
Okay, and it's worse now from what I hear.
Yeah, I know, bro. That's crazy.
So
damn, it wasn't that bad when I graduated school. It was like 10
yeah,
years
it
ago.
was
Like
this
I wish
crazy.
it was like that. I wish I'd have to do no work.
20 something to almost 30 a class, bro.
yeah, so I mean that's the real issue if we want to talk about issues out there. The issues is let's stop giving people free money and let's start investing our money into where they needs to be.
I 100%
Because
agree
that
with
brings us up to our next topic. I mean, all this money that the government's shelling out for all these people who have their anxiety to go back to work, companies are having a problem to reopen because nobody wants to go to work.
Well, it ain't reopened. They're staffing. They have staffing.
But some of these companies are trying to reopen. What do they need? They need staffing, right?
Yeah, especially now for the summer, where there's a lot of money out there being thrown out there, and these people, like the people that are getting the free money, are actually going shopping, but there's not enough staff to take care of that shopping.
And the people don't want to go back to work because they're making more money.
Well, would you think about this, right? I was reading the article. I sent you the article. New York, $575 unemployment, plus the government was giving them $300. That's $800 a week. Now, cost of living in New York it's higher, but $800 a week. Here in Florida was $600. In Florida, $600.
No,
almost 600, right?
No, you were getting when it first started. You were getting 800, like a solid 850 a week.
A week.
A week, yeah. It was.
I mean, that's then. Let's talk about where we're at now, though, because that's more of the topic point. Is why aren't people wanting to go to work back to work now? I agree. Back then,
it's the same thing because they extended it to September.
It's the same thing here, yeah. Because now you get every 2 weeks $650. So think about this part-time worker that is only gonna get like 24 hours divided by like a whole month.
You're talking about $2,400 a month to stay at home versus going to work.
And that's probably why the workforce is becoming, this is where the workforce is like, for now, majority of businesses, the workforce is becoming minors, which it becomes a whole nother problem.
Yeah, you're right. But that's also forcing some companies, to hike up the wage. Bro, $15 an hour. I've seen a thing where McDonald's is hiring up to $18 an hour. Bro, $18 an hour. McDonald's. Chipotle just put in an announcement that they're doing 15 to more an hour. They're giving you these other incentives. Like if you stay for this long or application, like $200 once you're in there for a specific time. There's all these other incentives now just to try to get people to even hire, just to jump to apply for the job. Now, I started thinking about that, right? And the company hasn't opened, and it ends in September. So in September, everybody's going to be looking for a job, hopefully, right? So hopefully. But if companies can hire now at $16 an hour, $15, $17, $18 an hour, like what took them so long to get to that price?
Because
to that
they won't be in September.
Yeah.
And that's what some economists were saying. That in September, why are companies paying out loud much now when in September there's going to be plenty of people to hire? And the difference is that now there's a lot of money being lost because people are waiting and all that.
Yes and no. I think what it also is that if I'm a business owner, I look at it like this. What type of worker do I want? Right?
Yeah.
I'll pay somebody more who's willing to get off their ass now and go get a job and give up that money because you're somebody who's going to be a long-term investment versus the guy who is riding this shit out and now you want a job. Well, guess what? How do I know I can even rely on you? Right?
Yeah.
You're going to be that dude that calls out, has issues, cause problems, all that shit, right? Listen, man, if I can bring you in for $4 more now, but I know I'm going to get a quality worker, I'll pay $4 more. I don't care. It's worth it. Because good work is good people are hard to come by. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, but the money that's being out there, like, it's just. Now, here's the question. You think it's going to end in September, or in September they're going to come out with another package saying, well, these people still trying to get back to work, and, anxiety is a real thing.
Oh, I think there's a couple things that could happen, right? Number one, we don't know what's going to happen when we reopen, so we don't know where we're going to be at with medically in September yet, right? Yep. So it's hard to say. If everything's status quo, though, I think what needs to happen is they just have to cut off the extra benefits. Okay, you look, we'll go ahead and we'll let you stay on unemployment, but you ain't getting no bump. You're gonna get whatever unemployment would have been 5 years ago or whatever it would, whatever it was. But you ain't getting no bumps no more, right? The government's done giving you extra money. You want to sit on unemployment, you'll get what you would have gotten before this all happened. That's what they should do. Because that way, I get some people really can't, and you're going to get something, but you ain't getting no extra no more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
The biggest thing is a lot of my friends have been on unemployment, but, they're on it, and it's kind of like they haven't had to work, and when you compare it, they're getting like $15.85 when you break it down, and sometimes that's more than what they had or what they were getting paid before, and that's a little bit different when you put it into that subject. It's like these jobs are hiring, but are they really hiring at 15? When you go there, it says 15, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna start you at 12, 11, and it's eye-opening because a lot of these big companies need people, but a lot of these big companies also let people go or didn't bring people back. And then what happened? You let them go. And now what's going on is they have this unemployment. They have this benefit. They don't have this ability. They don't want this ability to work. But you got to also look at it too. Like for some people, it's benefited. So think about it like this. There's this man's been working like 30 years of his life. He's been at his company. Let's say he was at Disney. Disney is a big one where there's a lot of elderly people. He's been with Disney for 60 years, or not 60 years, 30 years, my fault. He's been there 30 years. He gets furloughed. He's stressing how he's going to pay his bills, gets on unemployment. Unemployment gives him a lot. It gives him enough to sustain his living, his lifestyle, his family's lifestyle. But there's also a furlough list on this, in Disney, and it goes by seniority and where they were at. And they're opening slowly, but it's got to get there. There's some people who were part-time and got furloughed, and they're like, this is the greatest thing. I'm getting more money than what I got before. And they're waiting for this place to call them back. And there's a difference between that kind of worker, which is going to have good work ethic, versus I'm lazy. I don't want to find a job. I'm going to benefit as much as I can off of this and just take it because I don't have bills.
Well, I mean, there's a few things to take on that, though. Number one, like some of these companies, they laid off because at the time they had to. Some of them didn't have choices, so I get why they made those choices to let go people. Number two, a lot of these companies, I think they were only trying to bring back part time or whatever. But the biggest thing I look at is this, right? What are people like? Well, first of all, I was going to say, if a company puts out an ad saying they're going to pay you 15 and then they're going to offer you 12, you can say no. You don't have to take the job and you're staying on unemployment, right? So if they try to I forget, pull a fast one on you, right?
Yeah,
you're fine.
Like a bait and switch.
Bait and switch. So that really doesn't apply because no one's forcing you to get that job. So you can say no to it and turn it down because they're not paying you what they said they're going to pay you.
Yeah.
What people don't think about though is long-term benefit, right? And I think that's where we're at. Why I say there are a lot of people who are just lazy, right? Because they don't realize that they can go back to work now making more money than before they left and have a job, because once this ends, what are they going to do? Now,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You lose your trade. Yeah.
They're too worried about tomorrow, about today. They're not looking at tomorrow. Okay. And so you sometimes got to put up with, you might lose a little bit we're talking about what, 3 months. So you may lose 3 months of how much money really though, right? Like I get they're getting more than they were, but how much money are we going to lose in the long run? If now we're talking about full-time positions, obviously, right? Part-time positions are going to be a little bit different because, you can't guarantee how many hours you get, stuff like that. So listen, if you're only wanting a part-time job to begin with, then I get it. Stay the fuck home. I'm not denying that. Right. I don't see the sense in it, because guess what? No matter when the economy was good or bad, you could find a part-time job pretty much anytime you want. Right. Would you guys agree? Part-time jobs aren't that hard to come by.
Yeah. They're easier to get.
I'm talking about people who don't want to go back to work for a full-time position. Right? Where they're going to get medical benefits, 401ks, possibly all this shit that in the long run is more beneficial to them than getting 3 more months of a higher pay. Because you know what? There are a lot of full-time employees that were in these companies, because we're talking about what? McDonald's, Walmart's, Targets, right? These retail companies or fast food companies that even have full-time employees, they're getting more from unemployment than they were making there, because we all agree you're not making that much there unless you're in a higher level. And if you're in a higher level, most of them probably didn't get in this trouble, right? Yeah. Because they didn't get cut out. So then why does it make so why sit there and be like, well, you know what? I got 3 more months. I can just ride this out. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Because you said the L word.
Lazy. And but you had said that not all these people are lazy, right? Like the 30-year guy. Now, if the 30-year guy is a part-time employee, then I'm not saying the guy's lazy, but he's really not that concerned about paying his bills. Because if you're living working at Disney part-time for 30 years, you never cared about, you know what I mean? Like,
you were doing fine.
Yeah. So
but here's the other thing though.
But the full-time
when you go
people,
back, when you go back, right? It's September. Let's say everything stops in September. When you go back, now you have competition. Now you have more people applying for your job, for the job you want. And then it's always going to be the best man up, right? Oh, okay. Now, at least you're still practicing your trade. You're mastering your trade, and you're secure your job. I mean, nothing secure, but I'm saying at least you have, right? So there's pros and cons with it. Right now, the workforce needs people. Right now is the best time to get a job, right now. Because in September, when everybody, those 9 million, I think it's 9 million, 9 million people that they want a job, they want jobs. That's crazy. That's a big competition right there. And then what they're going to say, oh, I tried getting a job. I can't find a job. Nobody wants to hire. Oh, yeah, because when we were trying to hire, you weren't applying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I don't know.
Especially in September, where September is going to get busy.
Yep.
Well, the other thing people aren't going to realize is, you know what? There's going to be a lot of hiring in September, but what's it going to be for?
Seasonal,
right?
Yeah.
You know, because it's that time of year again. So everybody will hire, but then you guys, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but
yep.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy. And I don't even want to think about the season yet. So leave me right now and still in spring. Summer's coming up soon.
You guys don't know what it's like, though. Like, you guys really don't know what it's like, though, when we're talking about our profession in general. You guys are in an area that have you have a high volume stores. And I know you guys think it's rough, right? But you don't know what it's like to have. I was at a store, I'm not shitting you, yesterday, 2 employees. That's it.
Really?
That's it.
The whole store?
The whole store they had 2 come in and then 2 came in later, right? Other than
like a 7-Eleven, bro.
7-Eleven
has more employees than that.
Had to run the entire that were helping in the entire store. There are places that are being hit. There are places being hit harder than, because you guys are in a very predominant traffic-driven area, the entire Orlando area. Throughout this country, there are a lot of places that don't have that kind of population. That it is very strenuous. Now, you talk about stress. Those are the people that are still working, and they're not being compensated. Their mental health is being affected. Okay?
Bro,
and that's what's really tough, is that you're talking about worried about this person who has anxiety because she may have to go back to work, but we're not doing anything as a government for the people who are out there making sure that this country still runs.
Amen to that, bro.
And having or the anxiety they get. And
Preach, bro.
And it's not like they're just saying, here, we're going to go ahead and give you a stimulus check for those of you who are working. No, we'll give you a stimulus check for everybody. But what about those people who are keeping this country alive because they're not sucking off the tit, right? And they're out there putting themselves in front of everything, dealing with more anxiety than the mother sitting at home with her kids, worried about, oh, little Johnny might have to actually go and take a real test, in front of people and shit. Like, I'm sorry, man. Those are some of the people. That's that blows my mind. I don't understand how we don't take more appreciation and do more for those people. Because the anxiety I saw yesterday, that shit's real.
Bros, we see anxiety in our job, bro. We see it. It got to the point where somebody just like said, fuck it. It's just like, I'm out. It's that crazy.
I mean, what do you do when you have anxiety though, right? What's ways that we can get through anxiety? I know one way now that's sweeping America.
Take off the mask.
No, CBD. What? CBD is sweeping
100%.
Through America.
I love your segue.
to help people with anxiety, right? It's legalized because it takes out the so-called bad things from marijuana or hemp or whatever you want to call it, the THC, even though that's pretty much about
there's some that do have it,
which is about to be but it's about to be legalized across the country anyway, so like that's going to be a joke. But CBD is a legitimate anxiety reducer, a sleep aid, a lot of different things, and I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, Gaston, what do you think about that?
Wow, I gotta make it sound like me.
You notice we have a theme going on, Gaston? Yeah. I ask a question, Messiah follows up with, yeah, Gaston, what do you think about that?
Because we had a recent incident where we both walked into a CBD store.
Together? Or just met each other there back?
Yeah, no,
together.
Together.
Oh.
So
you guys just randomly saw each other. I was like, whoa.
What are you doing here? Yeah. I don't know. What are you doing here? This isn't where I parked my car.
I was like, Dunkin' Donuts.
It's funny you say that. Did you ever go someplace that you feel awkward about going there and you're worried you're going to see somebody, but yet you never realize in the back of your mind, if you see that person there, then they're doing the same damn thing you are. So why do you feel awkward? Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because in our job, I live near it, so I'll go to Walmart and I'll never forget. I seen a family one time and they're like, "Hey, it's Gaston," and I'm like,
"No, that's different." What I'm saying is, let's say I'm using this, and let's say you go to a toy shop, right, for adults, right, hypothetically, right. And I know I'm changing the subject real quick, but it just made me think of it when you guys said that. So, like, you decide you're gonna go to a toy shop for adults, and you're there, and you're always, you have that nerves going in. And you're like, "Oh my God, I hope I don't see somebody I know." But if you do run into somebody at the same time, they're at that adult toy shop too.
Yep.
They're doing the same damn thing you're doing.
It's not like they seen you walk in and they'd be like, "What are you doing here?"
But
that's why you hit. That's why you hit them with the.
But why do we have the anxiety that we're afraid of it? You notice that? Like, you're always afraid you're to see somebody, but yet, man, you're here too doing the same damn thing. Get out of here. Fuck out of here.
So with CBD, like it's kind of cool because it takes a different approach on it. It's used in different ways. There were ways that it could be, like you said, a sleep aid. There's way that it can be used to like put on your butter and put on your bread, and multiple ways that you'll take it. It's not just you smoke it and call it a day. And one of the cool part is that if you want it to have that, that enhancement, there are options for it. And one of the crazy things about it is, like, with CBD going around, like, it's more and more popular. Like, you'll walk into a plaza and there is a CBD shop there, and you're just like, this wasn't here before. This is different. And you walk in and they explain to you, and it's almost like if you remember, like in Amazing Spider-Man 2, when they're describing all the different Oscorp medicines and all that, it's kind of like how they explain it. They're like, this is like Sally Q's going to sleep aid, and you're like, what? You just sit there, what? Like,
well, I got a question then, because I didn't know you could smoke CBD.
No, it's like what she
'Cause I
showed
only
us
know it as,
was
I only know it as it being a byproduct that they put into things. I've never heard of people smoking it.
so there's different. What she showed us that day was like you can burn it, and it would have different effects, or
Like-
you can put it like underneath your tongue.
Like an
and stuff
incense,
like
you're
that.
saying though.
Yeah,
Like an
like
incense,
there's
yeah.
certain
Oh, okay.
stuff
But
like
you
that,
made
yeah.
it sound like it was like
Yeah, I
regular
did.
marijuana.
I made it sound no. There's
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I never heard of it like
No.
like that because the whole point of it is it's different than marijuana.
to be an alternative.
Yeah, that it's in on it doesn't give it gives you the good without the bad. And but like you said, they make it in butter, they put it in food, they put it in gummies.
They
I
do
didn't
it in
know,
tea.
they did incense, but yeah, there's all the tea,
Yeah.
all the different ways to incorporate it though.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so for me, like I'm like Gaston and I, we met at a restaurant, Spanish restaurant. We were eating, and I'm like, bro, I noticed there's a CBD joint back here. Let's go in there because I'm curious. So we both walk in. As soon as we walk in, the lady approaches us and she's like, hey, how you doing? How's everything? How can I help you with anything? You have any questions? And so she started naming all the shit that there's there. And then she goes, you guys want a sample of this and this and that? And because they were giving away sample for you to try right there. And I automatically I started opening up and I'm like, listen, I smoked weed when I was young and I don't do weed anymore because I get like, for example, when I was young, when weed hit me, and it's different, right? Because when you did it, growing up, we had easy lighters, right? Which is, bamboo paper that you roll up cigarettes with, but people use it for joints. Hit me different than what a Philly blunt with weed in it, right? And it was more of an anxiety thing. Right. To me, it was like, holy shit, my anxiety level just went up to the roof. Right. And I'm like, that effect scared the shit out of me. I'm like, I don't know. And everybody usually tells me when I tell them the story, they're like, bro, yours must have been laced. And I'm nah, I don't think that's what it is because, I've tried it again later on in life. And it got the same effect. And it's always with a Philly, right? With the cigar part, right? They take out the cigar and they put it in whatever. Anyways. So I was explaining that to her. She goes, it could be the THC. So she's like, so CBD is a lot different. There's different kinds of different methods of consuming it. And she was telling me there's one that has THC, but I'm like, yeah, that's the part that I don't know. So I don't know what is it that affects me. And she's like, we could try this right now if you want. I'm like, no, because I don't know how it's going to affect my body. And I'm driving. I don't want to be driving.
Well, first of all, hold on. First of all, if there's THC in it, then it's not CBD.
No, I know. That's why she was telling me that the CBD part I could try.
So they sell marijuana in Florida now?
Not marijuana. There's one that has not as potent THC of a CBD.
Saying, as far
strand.
as I know, anything that has THC in it at all is considered marijuana. So if she's selling it, you know what I'm saying? Like,
remember the I'm assuming this place had medicinal marijuana, whatever. Anyway, but it was a CBD joint. Maybe I understood it incorrectly, but she was like, we have it in drops. We can put it under your tongue. You let it sit there for a minute. And I'm like, no, I don't want to try that because I don't know how it's going to affect my body. So, but I started asking her questions, how it works, how, what are the different way to consume it. And she explained all that to me. And that's when she explained about the incense. She explained the gummies, and she explained the drops. So she goes, here you go. Here's some samples. Would you like to take some samples home? So she gave me some samples. I'm like, cool. I'll take it home. I'll think about it and I'll try it out. And then I asked her the weirdest question ever was like, how do I invest in a place like this? And then I walked away. so got drunk that night, tried it, and I thought I was gonna get the effect of, maybe I didn't do it correctly, right? But I thought I was gonna get the anxiety effect. But bro, my whole body just went, and I relaxed like a motherfucker. I was just relaxed, and it felt so good.
well,
Like, maybe I should invest like myself, buy some more of this.
Have you ever seen the show on Netflix? I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix about cooking with marijuana.
No.
Okay. There's a show on there. And if you watch it, it's not going to give you anxiety because it actually takes away the effects of marijuana. It takes away the effects of alcohol. That's what it's like. That's one of the effects it can do. So there's this show about these chefs who specialize in cooking with marijuana. right?
Okay.
And the show is out in California where the shit's legal, right? And they get
Colorado.
or Colorado, maybe, I don't know. But it's literally, and on the set, they literally have just plants like buds and shit. Like, it's fucking crazy how much marijuana is in this one little room for these chefs to cook.
Your eyes was like, holy shit.
And they get famous
Jurassic
people
Park
on.
music playing.
Like, they had, I think Snoop Dogg was a judge for eating the food and different things. So what they do though is the people who are cooking, they balance their meals out, right? And they decide how much THC marijuana to put in and how much CBD they're putting in. And when you listen to them cook, they tell you that some of them, what they're going to do is they're going to add a little bit extra THC in the beginning of the meal to get you nice and high. And then they're going to put less THC and more CBD in towards the end of the meal to level you back out. And it talks about how it can actually be a counteractor to you. So it's this big movement that goes around, and how they take CBD, like, because it's all marijuana based, but they're just different parts of it, right? And how they're able to utilize that to balance things out throughout the meal and give you a certain effect of what they want you to get. And it was a pretty cool show.
Yeah, maybe I might look into that. I watch Netflix a lot.
Yeah, well, I like cooking shows. I like
me
Nailed
too.
It. Like, I love that show. I thought it was hilarious.
Are you saying that they're weed wizards?
All I can say is, but yeah, man, like, it was a cool show, but it opened my eyes to see that CBD can, like, now
CBD is considered oil or a synthetic drug.
It's not a synthetic drug because it's not manufactured, right? Synthetic drugs means it's manufactured, I believe.
Okay, but isn't it manufactured?
Well, no, it's pulled out of something. It's not.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They extract it. Thank you. They're extracting it from a plant. They're not making it chemically. Like, they're not putting chemicals together to make something, right? But that's the joke about this whole thing anyway, because back in my day when I was young, there was like we didn't. Dude, it's not that, but the marijuana that was going around as a child, it wasn't the shit that you see on the show or like today, right? There were sticks in it. There were seeds in it. It was like somebody grew it in their backyard, picked it, and that's it.
Take them out.
Yeah, like it was garbage shit, right? And so, like, nowadays though, everything's so chemically induced and manufactured that people tell me, like, when you go, and I've never been to one, but I got a lot of people that went out to Colorado that I know, and they tell you, just like you talked about with the CBD, you go into a marijuana shop in Colorado and they're like, all right, what kind of high do you want? And you're like, and back in my day, I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking. Like, I wouldn't have known what you're talking about. And so supposedly though, when you go there, well, do you want a body high? You want a head high? You want a this high?
Yeah,
you want a
I heard
that
about
high?
that.
And like, you could pick different types of marijuana, even if you smoke it, right? There's different, depending on the way they grew the plant and they manufactured the plant, depends on what kind of feeling you're going to get from that plant. And I guess it kind of reminds me, have you ever seen the movie with, oh man, what's it called? With
Pineapple
Seth
Express?
Rogen? Huh?
Pineapple Express.
Yes, Pineapple. You knew
Where they
exactly
do the
what
cross?
Yeah, like
the cross.
Well, no, he's talking. Yeah, but he talked about the different type. Like, oh man, you smoke this, and you're like, that's the world we're living in nowadays. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it's really cool that, like, when I took it, I'm not promoting the shit out of it. But by the way, I'm not promoting it. I just thought it didn't give me the effect
yet. Wait till he invests.
No, I didn't. Yeah, exactly. Like, I didn't think about it. My initial reaction was like, man, I'm gonna get the anxiety that I got when I smoked it, and it did the total opposite, bro. It relaxed the shit out of me.
It's not the
and
same
I'm like,
thing. Yeah.
and I'm like, because for smoking weed from the past experience, bro, I would really, my anxiety fucking, because the way it affects me is, I'm gonna give you an example. It's like if I'm dreaming but I'm awake, right? And I feel like everything is happening, but it's replaying over and over again. I feel like my soul is leaving my body. Like, I feel like my whole body my soul is leaving, but I'm looking at the same time. I'm still here, and bro, and that shit just like, there's a word for it. It's like your
Out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like that, and it fucks with me, bro. It's like, holy shit! Like I'm looking around and I start pacing, and it makes me feel like, what the fuck is going on?
You
And that's
ever
why I stopped smoking weed.
You remember in the movie Friday when Smokey smokes with the guys?
Yeah,
with
he does this.
and he starts bugging out,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's all I'm hearing is like, you just,
Bro, that's
just
me.
don't even know how to act, and you're just like,
Oh my god.
Bro, you know who you could ask? Kenny.
Oh,
Brian, you can
God.
ask Kenny. He'll tell you.
I can only imagine Kenny.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So that's about all we got time for today. Anybody got fuck out of here's?
Any fuck out of here? Guys,
fuck out of here with
To the Knicks?
Trey Young. He lost. He's garbage. The Hawks are garbage. We're gonna go Atlanta. Knicks in 5. That's all I'm saying. Fuck out of here.
Oh, that ain't going to but okay. I mean, I give them at least probably 7 if they win. The game 7 at least if they're going to do it.
You know what? I need you to take your negativity. I need you to.
I said I'm not
I
being
need-
negative. I'm
I
being
need you to
realistic.
leave that room you're in. Come back in and rethink about what you just said, because Knicks in 5.
All right. All right.
so
Wishful
here's my
thinking,
fuck out of
thinking.
here. I just thought about it because that same line you used on me before. I need you to leave the house and then come back and rethink it. So my fuck out of here is this. We talked about it on our previous show about White Castle showing up in Orlando,
Oh hell no!
right? So it is finally here, and the lines were backed up for hours. Literally, I had people saying, "Yo, 8 hours" on social media, 8 hours, and it was worth it. No, I don't care if it's 30 minutes. It's not worth that wait. I mean, I'm not saying it's not the greatest, but I always consider it as munchie food. That's it. Unless you're in line smoking weed or getting drunk for 8 hours and you finally get to eat it, but it's not the best experience in the world. Why are people still making a big deal out of it? And I bet you most of these people that are lined up there are people that miss it from New York.
All right, here we go. The door, wherever
So
there's the
fuck
door
out of
up,
here with that White Castle shit. We talked about it. and
Yeah,
all
I
that.
get it, but the difference is this. Number one,
It's
it's
the
a new
hype.
it's a new commodity. Correct. It will die down. There's only one company right now on this earth that's ever going to be able to keep lines that make you wait an hour. That's it. There's
Disney.
only one. Chick-fil-A.
Disney.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Well,
Dude,
nah, but they
Chick-fil-A
handle the lines very well, bro.
I'm not saying they don't.
organized.
I'm not saying they don't. But dude, Chick-fil-A always
give it
has a
to them,
line
though.
wrapping around the building.
Yeah, but
Always.
you could give it to them because even their morning biscuit with the chicken, with the little chicken little thing that they put, that's delicious.
I'm not
That's
talking about
fucking
we're
worth
not
it.
talking about whether you like it or not. I'm not comparing the food from Chick-fil-A to White Castle. What I'm saying is White Castle's lines are going to
Die
die
down?
down.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, man, I don't care how long a Chick-fil-A's been there. Their lines are always around the block. Can you ever remember a time that you went through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and there was nobody there?
Nah. No.
Never happened.
But they're very organized how they handle
oh
their
no, they
drive-thru.
do great. I'm not saying that. But gosh, man, those
They
lines
get two
are
lines
crazy.
going at the same time. They got people outside sweating in this
Well, that's the
103
joke.
degrees weather.
That's the joke of it. They have the machine that you could talk into, but they go, yeah, we don't use these. They
Yeah.
put people outside and make them work outside
Bro,
instead.
but
Yeah.
but the line goes like this.
The one across the
That
street from where
strategy
we
is
work
like
has
quick.
now they have like more shelter on top and fans.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus, these guys knew COVID was gonna happen because they're prepared.
No, they
But-
just make you work outside. Doesn't matter if it's COVID or not.
Yeah, but
It's crazy.
It's the way they kill that lunch line because you know,
I know.
it's that lunch line and they get rid of it like that. You be like,
and I
shit,
will
it's
say
worth
this.
going.
I will say this. You know why it's smart that they do that? And this is the difference between them and other franchises, why they do so well, is it's a lot harder to screw up somebody's order when you're standing face to face. Do you ever notice if you go into a fast food restaurant and you order something, how often does your order get screwed up?
If he ain't writing it down, no.
No,
not
they're putting in the
often.
computer. I'm talking about fast food.
Oh,
Fast
okay,
food.
yeah.
How often does your order get screwed up? I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
It depends on what McDonald's you go.
Like I said, I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But when you go through the drive-through, where they never
Oh,
look
yeah.
at you in your eyes,
That is so true.
they hand you a bag and you drive off. How
And I'll be
many?
like-
Listen, you're talking to a guy that wasn't it at our store that I got in an argument with somebody in the hub because my food came messed up?
Yeah.
In the store before that, somebody went to order me something from Applebee's and got me a hamburger with rice, and I flipped out. I'm like, how do you put rice in with a freaking hamburger? You put French fries. Fuck out of here, Applebee's.
This ain't Hawaii.
Oh my God. So anyway, that I think that's where they realize the difference is, because they're going to get your order right 99.999% of the time, because they got somebody in front of you.
Well, it ain't just they get it right. They go through that line quick.
Yeah. So.
Hey, can you be mad at somebody that tells you, "Have a blessed day"? I know, you know,
You're having the Lord's chicken.
They hit me with that. I'm like, damn, this person's really nice. And then you check the bag. You know what? I ain't even gonna complain. I'm gonna just drive off. I wanted a spicy chicken sandwich and I got tenders. I guess we're having tenders today.
Yeah, I don't know what they put in the water there, but everybody happy as hell.
Yeah.
You think Disney's the happiest place on earth?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
I don't go for the Chick-fil-A sauce. I go for have a blessed day.
Well, it ain't just that. And then when you eat in, I know we're going over this, but and then when you eat in, the fact that they come over, they be like, you can go take a seat. They have a cone where they know where you're at. And then when you finish and you're having a conversation, they gently come over and say, "Are you done with that? Because I'm gonna get rid of it for you." I'm like, shit.
It's like being at a restaurant, but you're at a fast food joint.
It is a fast food place.
And you don't got a tip. Don't got a tip. That's the best part. Listen, I'm being served and I don't gotta tip you.
Yeah.
Man, that's a freaking dream.
They go in the back and they're bioengineered.
Oh yeah, that's why every like 20 minutes they have to get plugged in. Charge time, shoot.
Have a blessed day.
They're all probably back there doing crazy amounts of math or some shit. Have a blessed day. Let's go do some more meth.
The restaurant closes. The meth party.
They got metrics. How many times did you say "have a blessed day"? Oh, I forgot. I forgot.
Oh, all right. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. I want to thank Gaston for being on. You guys may see more Gaston. I don't know, coming in the upcoming weeks. We may. Our boy Goldo was unfortunate. He wasn't going to be here tonight. He has some things going on, and he may be out for a couple weeks. We hope that he comes back soon. Goldo, we love you. We miss you. But until then, Gaston may appear a little bit more often. If you guys don't want to hear, though, go ahead and comment down below. Tell us to get him the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
We'll get some.
Yeah, you could be a guest star, but tell the fuck out of here if you don't want him here.
Listen, you got to give the people what they want. You know what I'm saying?
What if they tell you to get the fuck out of here? Well, damn, didn't think about that.
Here's the difference. If they tell me to get the fuck out of here, I'm doing my job right. Okay, that's why I'm on the show. Anyway, we appreciate everybody who viewed, all the two of you. Sheridan, we appreciate for you watching every week. You're a loyal viewer. And we're going to be live hopefully next week. We may not be. We don't know. It depends on how the schedules work. If we're not live, we'll post it on our social media accounts, which will be up on our page here in a second. You'll be able to follow them if you don't already. And we'll let you know if we're going to be pre-recorded. But until then, we're still live Wednesdays, 10 p.m., right in your living room. Have a great night.
We got the